question of the day for you. So I'm struggling to understand what EV hate comes from. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this, but I am driving home and I got passed by just a really terrible sounding ICE vehicle. It was a brand new Tundra with a performance exhaust system, and I've heard F-150s sound the same, and you know, any new turbo small displacement engine sort of sounds similar, like a flatulent moo instead of, you know, you used to put an exhaust system on a truck, but it had a V8 and it would sound good. People still are putting these exhaust systems on these newer motors, but they sound terrible. And you know, that's something that ICE fans, or perhaps more accurately EV haters, say all the time. Like, I love the sound of my old V8. That's cool, but 95% of the cars on the road are not good sounding ICE V8s. They're sort of normal, mutual sounding, not exciting or thrilling noise making machines. And you know, guys are like, well, I love the torque from my turbo diesel. This has more torque, right? EVs have more torque, and they make it earlier because that's diesel guys' thing. It's like, oh, well, it makes torque so early in the rev band. EVs make torque from zero, right? So is it about power? No, because EVs are more powerful. I'm struggling to understand why ICE guys, or like I said, perhaps more accurately, EV haters, dislike EVs so much. So I'm an ex-ICE mechanic, an internal combustion vehicle mechanic. I don't hate ICE vehicles. There's some really cool ones out there, but it seems very uniquely towards EVs there's a lot of hate, and I struggle to wrap my mind around it, like why people hate them, or what they really have against them. Like I don't know. I don't really. If you want to have your ICE vehicle and you don't want to have an EV, that's all right. You know, like I've said multiple times before, I have ICE vehicles still on my bucket list for vehicles I'd love to own. So I don't know. I just don't get the hate of, I'll never get an EV. Like, there are tons of great benefits to owning an EV. So, you know, especially if you're a guy, let's say you've got a really cool ICE hot rod, or a collector car, or some awesome off-road vehicle like a Land Cruiser, or a Jeep, or you know, whatever built off-roader you've got. Wouldn't it make sense to get a commuter EV so you're not driving those cool cars every day, like a little throwaway Nissan Leaf or something else, like just something cheap? They're so cheap to run comparatively, you know. And okay, you're not getting an EV because you're an EV enthusiast. It's just saving your ICE vehicle so that you can use it for its intended purpose. I don't know. I just don't see the downside. But the noise thing, you know, guys are like, oh, I love the sound. Like, well, most ICE vehicles don't sound good. So that can't be the reason that you actually dislike EVs. And, you know, most ICE vehicles are less powerful than any comparable EV. So that can't be about the power and whatever. So I'm struggling to understand what EV hate comes from now. And here's another point of view. I watch all sorts of videos about engine repairs, and I love the engine teardown videos. What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? And a guy had a newer, I want to say it was a 2022 Ram 3500 diesel, and there was some 10-cent washer in there that failed, and it cost him an entire new motor, and it was $35,000 for the new motor, and install and everything else. So I got home and I had to verify that claim about $35,000, and it appears that that motor was significantly upgraded. So with the upgrades would be $35,000. So you can get that motor. I found one for as low as $17,000, but most of them were between $17,000 and $20,000 for that same motor. Again, that's just the long block. You know, when people complain, oh, batteries can cost $15,000 or $20,000, but batteries really don't fail, and the warranty is so long that you're good. If it is one of those oddballs that does actually fail, then the warranty is so good, it's gonna be covered. So when you've got transmissions that cost $20,000 and you've got motors that cost tens of thousands of dollars to replace, I'm not buying either that it's, oh, I don't like EVs because the battery's gonna fail and they're so expensive. They're throwaway items. First of all, they're not. Batteries last a really long time. They don't generally just die. You know, there's a degradation that happens over a calendar time. So they've been outlasting people's expectations and estimates forever now. You know, you can go and find a cheaper early Model S, and it'll still be at like 80% or more of battery state of health. So I think over time, you know, people are gonna accept those answers. But right now, I'd love to know what people's genuine hatred against EVs comes from and why they don't like them. You know, and educated reasons. Like I've heard oh, well, the cobalt comes from DRC and it's child labor. And, well, that's not true for the most part. You know, US companies have been very strict about the source materials they use and where they come from. And you have a phone in your pocket, or probably in your hands if you're watching this video right now, right? That's got a cobalt battery in it. So what's the deal against EVs? Two of my three EVs don't have any cobalt in them whatsoever because they're LFP packs. So I'm not sure, you know, again, give me the educated reason why people hate on EVs. Like is there an actual reason that people hate on EVs anymore? Because I could keep going, but I just don't. If you like cars, if you're a car enthusiast, EVs can do all the car enthusiast things and do them better. Range anxiety, that's real. You know, you get nervous or anxious about your range and how much is left and all the rest of it. But there's charging stations everywhere. People drive coast to coast. You know, it's not difficult to charge your EV. Most of it happens at home for most people as well. So I'd love to hear what are you guys' thoughts, and if there's an EV hater out here that stumbled across this video. I don't hate you, I don't hate your ICE vehicle. I'd just love to hear an educated, you know, reasonable answer as to why you don't like EVs, why you hate EVs. So let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching.